All right, guys, in this video, we're going to be walking through what is it like in a typical day as a first year medical student. And so the first day was orientation day. So I think this is more symbolic of what an actual day looks like. And so today, Monday, was the first real day of classes. And so we got slammed with a lot of lectures and a lot of PowerPoints and a lot of, some history also on the discipline. And so, yeah, it's currently 10:42, and I am trying to make sure that I am learning, or at least have some vague notion or idea of what I'm supposed to have learned for today. And so I think the key thing that they were trying to tell us during our orientation is that there's going to be a flood of information, and you're not going to get everything. And so the key thing is to basically figure out what are the important things that you need to take away from these lectures and make sure that you understand those specific things well enough, because a lot of times the professors who are teaching these classes have PhDs in, biochemistry or genetics or physiology or whatever. And so you very quickly can jump deep into the weeds on any single thing that they mention on a slide. And if you wanted a PhD in that subject, or if you were super interested, like, they can talk to you about it for 8 hours. And so it's like, but the thing is that you don't need to know it to that degree. You just need to know it to a certain degree. And so part of the biggest challenge here is mostly just figuring out how well do you need to know something, and making sure that you know the stuff that you should know. So it's kind of like the scope and the depth that you're trying to figure out. And this is me just thinking about this like I guess an engineer would. But I think a strategy that I'm trying right now on day one, and I very well may change this, but basically in our school they give you these learning objectives. So basically on the first slide deck of every lecture, you get these things where they literally tell you what you're supposed to know from that lecture, and hopefully it aligns with what they ask on the tests and what is expected for the board exams and all these other exams you're going to take down the road. But basically the gist of it is that the key thing, no matter how zoned out you were during lecture, is that you are able to feel comfortable about the things that they've said you are expected to know how to do. And so basically the strategy that I have, and other people, and this is not my own thinking here, but basically is to write down stuff, number each learning objective, and then just kind of talk about that stuff. And so, some teachers are different from others and schools are different from others, but basically the general idea here is that you just make sure that you are understanding the stuff you're supposed to know. And I will say that in terms of my direct experience with this stuff, so far the lectures are super, super fast paced, almost to the point at which it's not helpful, or it isn't helpful really at all. So it's kind of like, I think a lot of people, day one, you walk in, you're freaking out because you're like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to understand all this stuff. And the truth is that you don't need to. That's what they tried telling you during orientation. The whole point is that you know just what you were supposed to know. And also just, figure out a strategy that works for you, and only you know you. So you got to try different stuff until you find something that works. And it's not even just, class specific, because every teacher's gonna have their own testing strategy and style of teaching. So it's kind of be like, there's no silver bullet to any of this stuff. You have to figure out what works and just be willing to adapt and, think on the fly and try something different that you think it'll help. And so in my case, I'm trying to make like summary pages, and, that kind of forced me to like redigest the information. And then I was going to make some Aki decks out of this so that I can remember all these trivia factoid things. And so that's my current strategy. And I mean, I also need sleep too. It's not like I've been at this all day, because I intentionally did not want to be just inside all day trying to take notes and study and stuff, because it's day one, and also, you need to take care of yourself too with this. So I went on a bike ride earlier, went up to Angeles National Forest. It's about, I don't know, 15-ish miles north from Pomona on my bike. So that was fun. It's a lot of climbing, and I'm figuring out which roads are the best roads to get there. Yeah, and the other thing we did today that was interesting is we did CMR, or clinical and medical reasoning. And that's an actual in-person thing. And so, yeah, we actually got to have a partner, and we are doing this thing called palpation, which is a very fancy way of saying literally just, touching someone and trying to feel them. And, what you're going to note is that, you have an enormous number of mechanoreceptors, like Merkel's discs and Meissner's corpuscles are the exact terms of these things that basically allow you to detect very fine distinctions between points, or 2-point distinctions in your hand. So basically, really fancy way of saying that your fingertips are really sensitive. And so like you can use them to begin to feel stuff in the body. So like you can feel how well your dermis slides over fascia, like that. And you can, go a little bit deeper, and you can feel the muscle fibers and feel how as you increase the tension, like you can do all that stuff. So, we practice on ourselves, we practice with a partner, and it's a very new experience, I think, for everybody there, which is pretty cool. And yeah, it's mostly just chugging away, pretty boring stuff. The Zoom life is boring. But I mean, I think there are some advantages in that everything's recorded very well. So like if you totally were asleep the whole time, you can rewatch the lectures if you want to. Personally, I don't think watching lectures is helpful. I think reading the slides and trying to put things into my own words and condense the information in my own way is how I can best learn, but everyone has their own learning styles. And yeah, so that is kind of where we're at. And yeah, hopefully this is interesting. It's I don't think it's as glamorous as people make it out to be. Yeah, I know you should be feeling I should probably be like stressed out right now trying to do everything, but I think honestly I hit a wall, and I also know what I need to do for myself that is more important than me trying to cram some additional material super late. So yeah, so we'll keep you posted. And this is the end of official day one, or real day one, not orientation day one. Yeah, so stay tuned. I'll talk to you guys next time.